Welcome, here is Danny from the E-SickBiker channel. Today I'm talking about Niner bikes, US brand. Guys, if you're watching this episode, I love your job, really cool bikes. I'm gonna explain to you the range of the bikes right here, which is pretty much straightforward. So you should be able to understand the range of these bikes and get it pretty quickly. But there are some things that can be confusing, and that's what I'm gonna be focusing on this episode. All right, I will also show you the bikes which most of you guys thinking about buying will be purchasing or will suit the best to most of your needs. So we've got Enduro, Trail, XC, so cross-country performance line, and gravel cyclocross line. Let's start with the one here. So one bike, one model for Enduro. Enduro, that's racing in very tough terrain, but you are both going down the hill, like almost downhill, and then you are also doing some climbs between the different stages. So a lot of travel, super tough bikes, full face helmet, and you need to be experienced rider to ride these bikes. So not many of you, at least those who are watching this episode, will be purchasing Enduro. But then we've got Trail, which you can also use for the Enduro races, at least some of these bikes, and then cross-country performance. So Trail bikes here are in between Enduro and cross-country. So they have more travel than cross-country, less than Enduro. These are a little bit more tough, I would say, than the cross-country bikes. Cross-country are performance optimized. The Trail are fun optimized. So cross-country will be better climbers. But then Trail bikes will be more fun, a little bit more travel, more like all-rounders. From among the cross-country range, we've got usually full suspension and hardtails, which is the case for Niner as well, and different frame materials. And finally, I think the most confusing here, gravel cyclocross. We've got 3, 4, 5 models here, 4 of which will have the drop bars, so road bike type bars. And the question is, which is for what? And so, in order to understand why do we have so many models, let's just look at 1 or 3 letters, RDO. And this means Race Day Optimized. RLT stands for roadless travel. So you can be traveling without any pavements, any tarmac, any roads. But this is important. RDO is race days optimized. So when you see RDO, like here, this is RLT9 RDO, or this one is RDO, this one is RDO, this one is RDO. That means these bikes are optimized for racing day, not so much for maybe riding all day long or all weekend long, but more for racing. And if we start with the gravel cyclocross, we're gonna have the RLT9 RDO, which is the gravel racing bike. So if you want to go for different gravel events and race against other guys, this is the bike for you, right? So if we look at the range of these bikes, that's the one. You can choose between, I'm gonna show you. Always when you click the bike, you can choose between different models, but the difference will be only in the components. So it's the same frame, spec'd with different components, or also the frame set only. So I'm always clicking at the cheapest one because that's the same frame, and this is the bike. That means you can race on this bike with really good results on gravel events. You've got 2 bottle cages, you've got additional bottle cages mounts on the fork, so really a gravel event bike. And then let's look here once more. Then we have, this is the carbon bike. Then we have no RDO steel bike and aluminum bike. And let's skip this one for a second. And then we've got once more the carbon but RDO bike. So these two, steel and alloy, are gravel bikes, but not race day optimized. These are just more for fun. So you can expect both the RLT steel and alloy. This one is steel, beautiful bikes. Guys from Niner, the graphics on your bikes, on most of your bikes, I love those. And this is the alloy bike. Of course you can race on gravel events, but these are just made more for fun, so you can expect a little bit more comfort from these bikes. Those should be quite stable bikes, all-rounders. So these are all-rounders. The difference is in the material of the frame. So also the steel one you can expect to be heavier, considerably heavier than the alloy, but even more compliant than the carbon. Okay, so we've covered these. Gravel for racing, gravel, steel and alloy for just all day long rides, some touring, some adventure rides. And then we've got this little dude here, BSB RDO, so race day optimized. This is not gravel bike, this is cyclocross racing bike. That means pretty steep head angle, so this bike will be much more nimble and less stable because of those really twitchy, sharp corners on the cross-country of the cyclocross events. You can read all the info here always in the product overview. It's pretty well done here, but I know most of you don't like reading on the website. So this is the cyclocross racing bike. What's the difference between this one RDO and this RDO? This is gravel bike, more stable for longer distances, and this one is for cyclocross, which means super short, super powerful and explosive races on very technical terrain. So not really for everyone. All-rounders are here. That's the alloy and steel, and this one is carbon gravel events bike. Okay, so now I think you understand it. And then this one, SIR9, maybe guys you could change just give them the names, because there's so many letters like BSB RDO, RLT RDO. So this one is also all-rounder. This is hardtail bike. You can use it as a trail bike. You can also do some races. It won't be as nimble, as aggressive as the bikes I'm gonna show you on this line. But this is the pretty much all-rounder, but without road bars or drop bars. This is the flat bar hardtail. So we have also the front suspension here. And this is a steel bike on the Reynolds frame set. Okay, then let's turn to the XC performance bikes. Let's start with the alloy one. So we've got this one covered. The next one is alloy, and what's good to know, if you look at the bikes, this is the first one. You can put on this one 29-inch wheels. You can also put 27.5, maybe not plus, but wider wheels. So maybe almost plus wheels. And this one here is maybe more for XC racing still. As you can see, different tire choices or wheel choices, and always compare the Geo, especially stack and reach. And we've got two options here with the 120 millimeter of a travel in the fork and 100 millimeters. So compare those. If you compare the Geo of this bike, so the alloy, and this one, the Geo is pretty much the same. Once more, just the look of the line here. So the steel and the alloy is maybe even identical geometry, so not super aggressive. The alloy will be a bit lighter, but you can race on this bike, yes, but it's not RDO, it's not race day optimized, so more comfy if you just want to have fun on the bike. Let's go up the range. Now we have two carbon bikes, and these I would say would be the race bred bikes. You've got the full suspension option, you've got the hardtail option, and also here we've got two choices, 100 millimeters of travel in the front or 120. 120 will change the geometry, it will be less aggressive. So I would say 100 millimeters will be pretty close to such races like racers like Scottscale RC 900 or or the Canada FSI. These are the bikes I know very well, so I can tell you that your Niner would be pretty similar on the 100 millimeters of the travel fork. And I must tell you, the other color scheme, this one is amazing. I love it. So this is carbon bike. You've got all the things you need. Boost, you've got through axles, everything you need for racing, for the modern bikes is there. And finally, the RKT9 RDO 90 millimeters RDO carbon. Guys, give them the names. They look so beautifully. They should have names. So RKT stands for rocket, because they say the Niner is made for flying. If we compare once more the geometry of the rocket to the, let's say, scalpel, it's almost identical. Now we've got different fork here with the offset, so that's Cannondale's proprietary one, but pretty much the same. So nimble but aggressive full suspension cross-country bike. Scott Spark is different here. I would say the Spark will be more aggressive than both of these. Okay, so we've got that covered, and now the part that should be the most exciting for most of you. Once more, on the trail line, which is let's go up, this one, Niner has put once more SIR9 and R9 both for the cross country and trail, because it's just in between. So you can do it for both, and the steel one even for gravel grinding. Why not? But then we've got here two real trail bikes, which is the alloy 120 millimeters of the travel bike, and then the carbon one, but this one is RDO, so race day optimized. And this one, the RDO, yeah, that would be the bike of the choice for me as the cross-country rider who wants to try enduro. So I would not jump straight on the enduro bike, because I'm not really familiar with 150 millimeters of travel and the geometry. This one will be closer to my bike, which is different of course, but closer, and I could race on this one. But then if you compare the Jet 9 RDO and Jet 9, the alloy one, the geometry is not so much different, so you do not expect that this one will ride so much different than this one. The carbon will be lighter for sure, and just Niner recommends to use this one for race days. Why not? But both will be playful, will be really tough and good for learning how to you know, negotiate those corners, those jumps and everything. So I think, dear viewers, most of you now in the US will be interested in either the racing gravel bike or these all-rounders. Maybe not so much on the cyclocross bike, because cyclocross bikes are no longer the all-rounders, since we have the new bikes, new all-rounders or all-terrain bikes, or you would probably now worldwide shoot for the trail bike, which would be maybe R9, but most likely the full suspension bike. So I think Jet 9 will be super popular, and Jet 9 RDO as a carbon version. If you've got more money, buy carbon. It's simple. It will be lighter, but both bikes are very playful. If you want to race, as I'm doing, of course, the Rocket RDO or the R9 RDO as a hardtail. So this one is for Nowe Mesto in Czech Republic World Cup. This one is for Germany Albstadt, for example. And finally, if you are really capable, experienced rider, you want to try enduros and you know the bike with 120 miles of travel, then go for 150 RIP 9 RDO. That's pretty much it. So remember about this race day optimized for just beginners, amateur riders. These all-rounders will be cool. This is cyclocross racing bike. This is gravel racing bike. Here we've got Rocket and Air racing cross-country bikes. These will be super fun to ride, and this one is for tough enduro. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any other brands you would like to have featured in the next episode, let me know. See you soon. Bye-bye.